Good morning, YouTube. This is your boy Zulu Gullah. Like, share, subscribe, comment. We rolling early this morning. um, I switched the time on y'all, so I apologize for that. I'm just gonna start going live when I can. I'm gonna try to schedule some stuff, man, but it's just not working out. Uh, I got a lot going on during the day outside of YouTube, and I got to get this schedule together. Coach Greg just did something else on managing your schedule. I'm gonna look at that stream, and I'm gonna go back to his doing YouTube for 90 days. I've been doing pretty good streaming, but I got to get consistent to capture the audience, you know, because I got a good message and I got good insight and topics for y'all. So once I get that together, things will start rolling. So that's on my end. So I apologize for that. You know what I'm saying? I hold myself accountable. But I'm gonna talk about this, man, and hopefully I give y'all enough time. At least I can give y'all about 15 minutes or so. But I'm gonna talk about this. Black women are worse than white supremacists on how they are towards black men. The black woman, as a majority in America, is the worst example of a gender representing their nationality, race, culture, and tradition. I told you before they're a laughing stock of the world. And it's not that anybody is doing anything to them, it's what they're doing to themselves, to their men and their children, their community. And it has to be said. Now, I get it. Are black men perfect? No. Do black men have shortcomings? Yes, we do. Um, but the problem with the situation where there is a disconnect, um, there's an indifference, there's a disagreement, and there's a matter of where responsibility lies, where guilt lies, where blame lies. The problem with all that is the fact that black women had no merit in a few things that they put on the black men. Now, I don't want to go too deep into history, but the key points to take place is black women many times turned traitor on their community for their own selfish gain. And it had nothing to do with the shortcomings of the black man. They did this on their own. Now the black man, up until a certain point, has only really held the responsibility for his shortcomings. So you can say in the black exploitation era, the era of maybe bootlegging, but definitely heroin, getting into the drug trade, pushing into the 80s and stuff like that, that's when the black man was at his worst. Up until that, there was really no issue with a black man other than he may have another household, he may be practicing polygyny. And that was their real issue with the black man. Their real issue with the black man was originally that they couldn't get the monogamy that they wanted in a patriarchal system. And they blamed their anger toward not having the monogamy that they wanted on patriarchy. And black men got blamed for white man patriarchy and the things that a white man historically did in this country to establish themselves um, at the top of the food chain. Now, the biggest contradiction is how can you put people that came on the slave ships together, went through um, Reconstruction, Jim Crow, civil rights era, and then the civil rights era is when black women sided with other groups to use civil rights to their benefit and to also attach themselves um, in full force to a feminist movement that had been brewing even before then in the early 1900s. So you got to think, like, what real issue did black women have originally before they turned traitorous in the 60s and 70s to start taking government benefits and also to proclaim themselves politically a different group distinct from the black community with a different set of specific needs, all the while accumulating nonprofit after nonprofit. You know, you probably got 40 plus nonprofits to one nonprofit for men in this country. Um, I don't know if that's race specific, but I do know men don't really have nonprofits in this country like that at their disposal. And then not only not just putting in types of indoctrinations that they gravitated to, but the fact that they developed their own mindset to have a perception of a black man like a black man is beneath them, less valued than them, that they have to be served by a black man uh, in every which way that they desire, right? And then you have the pro-black community who ushered in this black woman as God nonsense. Um, that only added fuel to the fire. And then you have improper teachings of scriptures that doesn't start from the very beginning of the scriptures to the end, properly explaining the lessons and the understanding of the scriptures, where so many of these women believe in God and claim to be Christian, but don't even follow the book and don't understand that the man is the head and the woman comes next and then the children. That's the dynamic. And there's also another dynamic that you have men and you have many women or wives under that man and the children. You know, it is optional for a man to be monogamous to a woman. It was never a right for a woman based on nature and scripture to have a right to monogamy. And if a woman doesn't choose to accept her husband's preferences as far as how many women he wants, not talking about how good or bad he treats a woman, because you have to treat a woman good. I'm not saying anything like that. What I'm saying is, if a woman doesn't respect nature and the order that God has set forth, whether by scripture, whether you observe when you look out and you see what makes it rain, what makes the sky go from cloudy to sunny. If a woman doesn't want to respect that, she has to accept what she puts, what position she puts herself in life, particularly talking about black women. So you will be single and lonely, and you will be a concubine or a whore if you can't accept a man's preference to either be monogamous or polygynous. That is at his discretion, so long as he is a good man and he does things the proper way. Now, men were never beneath you. Black men were never beneath you. Black men are not your slaves. And black men do not have to take historically all this mistreatment and abuse, and then the same people we came over here on these ships with turn on us and treat us like everybody else. You know, it's sad that black women talk to you worse than a dirty cop, talk to you, excuse me, let me correct my language, talk to you worse than a dirty cop, talk to you worse than the KKK, They talk to you worse than skinheads. They treat you worse. You could be a very strong, capable, physically fit, high IQ, highly productive, performing, working guy, and they will still find a reason to discredit you and talk bad to you. While you being nothing but good, supportive, patient, and understanding and helpful to them. You know, it's like I'm tired of being a counselor. I'm tired of being patient. I'm tired of saying, well, maybe if I just wait it out, that this woman right here will come around, she'll come to her senses, maybe she'll understand. Nobody has patience for that no more. SYSBM is a very great thing for black men right now. I'm pro-black, but I have come to be pro-black with self-preservation above anything. And I think SYSBM is a good thing to still be pro-black. Yet, if you need to stay away from the community, and if you need to wash your hands with the American BW altogether, by all means, brother, you are justified. Because I have been out here 42 years, and it is useless. They talk about you bad in secret. They talk to you about everybody. They put you on public display and humiliation for everybody. They blame everything on you, stuff you have nothing to do with. They forgot where y'all all came from together. And they don't care. And the biggest thing that you're up against is indifference towards you, the indifferent mindset they have towards you. That's the biggest thing you're up against. The second biggest thing you're up against is that they have taken too much D. I don't know any other demographic on the planet that's taking D like the black woman. The black woman is taking in too much D. And yeah, you can have good D, and I'm gonna do a stream on this because this needs to be talked about. You can have good D, but all it is good D until the good D wears off, and then they're on to the next search for some more good D. This is the life of a black woman. That's the real. That's probably, if it's not number two, it's number one. But you can flip them back and forth. Their perception of you plus their addiction to search for good D and seek out good D constantly is what's wrong with them. That's the main issue. Main two issues. So it's up to you guys to understand that it is useless right now. And it used to be a time where you would be like, well, you know, maybe if I get a girl slightly younger or so many years younger than me that I can mold her. These young girls are corrupted. These young girls are not young girls from back in the day. These young girls are growing up with access to devices and media information that by the time they hit middle school, you know, it's pretty much the wrap. You thinking you're gonna go out here and find you something from 18 to 25 that you can mold? Yeah, you figure that one out. But nobody is telling the truth, man. Our own women treat us worse than any other race of people who discriminate against us. And they have been traitorous and highly disrespectful to the point of you need to wash your hands with them. I'm saying that. Man, this is your boy Zulu Gullah, man. Like, share, subscribe, comment, man. I'm gonna tap in with y'all later, man.